day it has been. I'm doing this video. It's kind of a preface or just to kind of give you a heads up of what's going on in this video that you're about to see. This is basically, we got a 2014 Chevy Malibu, and the car belongs to a used car lot. They sent it to a shop that is a client of mine, and had a turn signal problem of some sort. The shop diagnosed it as a BCM failure. The shop puts a used BCM in this vehicle. This vehicle has a global way electrical system, so you can't reprogram used modules on these vehicles, at least not in a traditional sense. I guess the mistake that I made is that I didn't question the shop prior to going out. So I get there, and that's when I finally ask him. I says, "This thing new or used?" They said it's used. I said, "That's a no-go. You can't put used modules in these." There was a little bit of a back and forth. The shop calls the customer, the car lot. Car lot says, "Hey man, I want to take the risk. Big price difference. Whatever, you call me out, you ask me to do a job, I'm going to do the job." I attempt to program the module. The programming, it fails. So shop orders a new BCM. They call me out for a second time to program the new BCM, and I do that. Do my thing, do the security and everything. I get out of there. About a week later, I get a phone call from the shop asking me to come back out. There's some programming problems. I say, all right. So when I get to the shop, there is configuration errors in passenger presence module, electronic brake control module, and airbag module. So I got to go in and I reprogrammed all those modules and took care of the configuration problems. So that's 3 times now that I went out to program this vehicle, or went out to see this vehicle. About another week goes by, I get a call from the car lot. The shop gave the car lot my number, which I'm not really all that happy about. But the car lot says, "Hey, listen, the mileage has been ticked back on this thing, 30,000 miles. Do some talking with some friends, trying to figure out what could potentially be going on. Long story short is that the BCM is the module that houses the mileage, and the cluster sniffs it from the BCM to display it. So when we did the attempted programming of the used BCM, the cluster sniffed the mileage from the used BCM. Okay. They immediately install the new BCM. I go out to program it. The new BCM sniffs the mileage, temporary mileage stored in the cluster, and hard programs it. The used BCM had 30K less on it as far as mileage, and now that's what's hard programmed. Big mess. I was able to rectify it. Was able to go in and manipulate the EEPROM data, change the mileage to well, what I did was I got the old BCM, read the EEPROM on it, got the last reported mileage in the old BCM, And you'll see in the video, initially I was actually just going to clone the used module onto our new programmed module, but I didn't. I went into the new module and did some EEPROM stuff on it. But a couple of interesting things about this was that me and a lot of guys that I know that we're all in kind of do the same work had no idea. We thought it wasn't possible to tick back these EEPROMs. We thought they could only be ticked up. So we learned that wasn't the case. This is also, for me personally, my first experience in the aftermath of attempting to put a used module in one of these vehicles. And it was pretty bad. And really the funniest part of it all is that after I go out there and do all that, I get another call on this car, and I'm like, oh my God. It's like, we went to go get the car inspected, and the original problem is back. And then we're thinking that I potentially reprogrammed the original problem back in, and I'm like, okay, listen. That's not possible. That's a whole nother story. So what sucks for this car lot is that we went through all of this for nothing. And it cost him a lot of money, and it cost me a lot of aggravation, and I even took some losses on this vehicle. But I guess the moral of the story is, and you'll see in the video, there is ways to use used modules in these Global A vehicles. I personally can do some of them. It's a more expensive process. So yeah, you're getting ready to see the disaster that this caused by attempting to use a used BCM. All right, so here we are at the Malibu, and basically what I'm trying to do is I'm really just trying to make sense of the situation that we got going on here, and how this vehicle's mileage has gotten ticked back. And I think I know why. I don't think I know why. So what I'm trying to do right now is I want to see what other modules, first make sure that we have the right VIN, but I want to see what other modules have mileage data in them. I want to see if they're all matching this incorrect mileage. Do a quick fault scan while I'm here. Kind of interesting. I don't see the mileage displayed here. I'll be back. So now I'm looking at the data in the cluster, and as you can see, the cluster says 128,614. I'm gonna back out, go into BCM, ECU information, $128,614. So these are the only two modules that I'm seeing that actually have the mileage displayed in them. And this vehicle has 158,000 or 155,000. And basically, at the end of the day, what happened here is that this was at a shop, and the shop determined that it needed a BCM. Apparently, it was the correct diagnosis. However, they tried a used BCM, and when they were told that you can't use a used BCM, they said that they wanted to just go ahead and try anyway. And now here we are. So Gonna have to get fancy with this thing. There we go. That's what I've been waiting to see. I have the BCM that was taken out of this. So I got some ideas of what I'm gonna do here. I'm pretty sure I could remedy this. The shop that did the initial repair talked to GM. GM said to go ahead and try it. I told them not to, man. But they wanted me to try it, so we tried it, and now here we are. This is a pretty sticky situation because the cluster sniffs the mileage from the BCM, okay? So when you replace the BCM, the mileage is temporarily stored into the cluster. When you put a used BCM in this, the cluster will sniff the mileage from the used BCM. So the used BCM was replaced with a new BCM and programmed to the vehicle via VIN. But when that happened during the BCM programming, the BCM pulls mileage from the cluster. So now basically this car is displaying mileage from the wrong BCM that it doesn't have anymore. And for all purposes here, the correct fix would be to install the original BCM, reprogram it to the vehicle so that the cluster can sniff the mileage from the original BCM, and have to install a brand new BCM that will sniff the mileage from the cluster. But I got another way. All right, so I'm firing up getting the software fired up. Let's see if I can find this EEPROM chip. That's probably it right there. I'm actually using the camera to try and see it. I can't really see it that way, but this looks like it. Looks like a 24C32. Software is not loading up, of course. It's not one thing, it's another. We run the task manager and shut this down. Honda software is trying to update in the background. There we go. This has got to update. Well, while that's updating, it's definitely the EEPROM chip. All right, we're going to read this thing. Okay, here you go. I don't know if that's going to be... but we're going to give it a shot. Let's see if I could turn this around. All right. I go EEPROM microchip. Let's see, I'm pretty sure this is 24C. Hey, what did I say it was? Right there, 24C32. Okay. All right. I guess I had to reboot this thing. Let's read this chip, and it's a failed read. All right, let's see why. I don't know why, because there's a video camera rolling, that's why. Let's try that. Okay, we got a successful read. I'm going to read a second time. All right, so there we go. We got a good read. And technically, because this is the original module, the one that came out of the vehicle, technically, I've already got everything that I need. I'm just curious if I can see anything. That's really... All right, well, I got what I need, so I'm going to move on. Okay, so we got a little fuse box here. Let me unplug that. And then, let me get my light. I'm going to run out of light halfway through this job, watch. But there's our BCM. So I'm going to see if I can do this with the BCM in the car. All right, so here we go. I've got 2 powers, a ground, got my comm lines. You can see this is a 24C32 EEPROM, and that is that's letting us know what our MCU is. All right, so I'm hooked up to my power inverter. We're reading this BCM. Kind of slow to connect. See, and I just realized something. I didn't think about this initially, but I hope this thing connects. Okay, it's connected. I didn't think about this initially, but if I do what I was thinking about doing, I think I'm gonna have to program another key to this. And I don't know if I have one on me. So I wanna see if I could just recalibrate this. First, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read the EEPROM and I'm gonna read the flash data and save it. Just in case something goes wrong, I could revert this back to its current state. But then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just try to do the odometer recalibration based off of, I have a copy of the OG EEPROM and flash data, but I want to see if maybe I could just recalibrate this mileage this way by what's on the VIN, not on the VIN, on the title, without having to worry about changing keys. While I'm reading flash data, I thought I'd come in and give a little quick look. At the service van. There's the inverter and the battery pack that I did a video on and didn't even finish. You can see the Malibu in the background. All right, let's see if this flash data has been copied. Yeah, so I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to try this because this will save Saved me a trip of having to go get a key. This is what it's supposed to be, and this is kilometers, 258.43, and that's what's on it right now, 207.108, which I did a translation or whatever, and that is, in fact, the correct incorrect mileage, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to change this to 250.843, which was the last known mileage on the OG BCM. Well, let's hit OK, see what happens. 258.43, yes. Let's read it. 258.43. Huh. All right, let's see what we got. So right now I'm just doing a read info on ECU. $258.43 on the odometer, and the other information has remained intact. Bro, I'm gonna go install this in the car and see what happens. 155.866. So that takes care of that. We got a happy customer. They're finally done having to mess around with this Malibu. It was a lesson learned. I still haven't talked to the shop that all of this originated from, but apparently they have another vehicle that belongs to this lot that has an ABS module that needs to be programmed. So I'm anticipating having to talk to them again, and I'd like to have a conversation with them. Just about, I mean, I warned them. I mean, I get it, man. I get it. You know, people take a little bit of pride in their work, have a little bit of an ego attached to their work. For some reason, for whatever reason, there's something about the automobile that seems to be directly attached to a unit or a level of measurement of male intelligence. And yeah, we run into this kind of stuff all the time, man. But I want to have a conversation with them. I think they're good people. They just didn't know, and you know, I got to take a little responsibility here too, because out of all parties involved, I'm the one that really knew best. So yeah. So that wraps this up. That was pretty cool that I was able to do that mileage change like that. And so yeah, that's that, man. We're on to the next one, man. Thanks for tuning in.